the mother of harlots. She has children. She has children. And if you ask a Roman Catholic priest or archbishop or one of them people that know, they will tell you all these Christian churches are Catholic. They just don't even realize what they are. Isn't that amazing? They don't even realize what they are. And that's why you had that dude, Tony, what was his name? Tony Blair. He died a few years ago telling all of them Protestant churches, y'all need to come back home. There ain't no more protesting. Y'all don't protest no more. Come back home. And they are coming home. They all are. Okay? And so in these last days, the gods of Isaac and Jacob are on one side. That's us, Israelite nation, the true God. And then you got Gog and Magog, worshiping man. And man-made religion on the other side. Okay? And so you got two classes of people in that first resurrection. People that's going to be destroyed and people that's not. And the people that's going to be destroyed are led by those three entities. The dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. They receive 666. They receive the mark in their forehead or in their hand. And it's not a chip. It's worship. It's obedience to a false god. That's what it's about, man. The people talking about a chip. Ain't no chip. Ain't no chip. Look, let me explain something to y'all real quick. Do you know if you were hiking somewhere, right, and you got lost, right, and they couldn't find you, but you had your cell phone. You had your cell phone, even if you didn't have service, but you had your cell phone. Could they find you? Could they find you? If you had a cell phone, could they find you? Right? Did you have to put a chip in your hand or in your forehead for them to know where you are, for them to find you? Did you have to put a chip in your hand or in your head for them to know where you are? They can find you anytime. When you go on Facebook, when you write stuff on Facebook, they know exactly where you are. When you use a credit card or a debit card, they know exactly where you are. They know who you are. They know what you like to buy. They know where you like to shop. They don't need to put no chip, no RFID chip in you for them to know all that. So the mark ain't nothing about no chip. Come on now. This thing's about worship, brothers and sisters. We need to understand that. This whole thing is about worship. Who you worshiping? What you worshiping? What is it about? Is it about you? Or is it about the Father alone? That's what it's about. Is this about man? Or is it the Creator alone? That's what this is about now. So the mark of the beast in the right hand and the forehead, that's about you worship. Who you worshiping? How you worshiping? Okay? When they tell you you can't buy or sell unless you follow certain things, certain principles. And let me tell you, for example, I talked about this real ID they got out. I got a driver's license. They got real ID now. So my driver's license has got the star on it. And in order for me to get the license, I had to prove I was a citizen. I had to bring documents to prove I was a citizen. Had to bring a passport. Had to bring a proof of residence. Had to bring a social security card. Right? Had to bring all that to prove I was a citizen in order to get the license renewed, to get the real ID. Now, on the license, now they got all this information on there. Huh? Now, in the future, in a very short time, they're going to have the same thing. They're going to have the same thing. Now, the problem is that they're going to ask certain religious questions as well. Why would they do that? Listen, have you been paying attention? Do you know that the current president says that all Islam is a threat? Do you see that? He said, I'm going to put a ban on anybody that's a worshiper of Islam from coming into the United States. That's what he said. That's what he's been saying. Right? And why is that? That's not really for the Muslims. It's a front. It's for us. They bringing the Muslims under subjection because of their rebellion under the Ottoman Empire. The Muslims rebelled against the Roman Catholic Church. They attacked the Roman Catholic Church during the Ottoman Empire. They've been bringing them under subjection ever since. That's why you seeing all these wars against them. They're getting bombed and all that. That's why you seeing that. Little children by the tens of thousands getting destroyed in the Middle East by bombs. Okay? By drones. See that? That's why that's happening. Bringing them under subjection. But really, it's for us. So that at some point, because we're not part of... See, this is the thing. When you're in the truth of the word talks about the nation of Israel. It never talks about a 501c3 corporation. Never talks about that, does it? Never. Never does. 501c3 is from Rome, brothers and sisters. That's a Roman Catholic thing. Okay? That's a Roman Catholic thing. I don't care what religion they claim they are. I don't care if they say they Israelite. You 501c3, you belong to Rome, brothers and sisters. You belong to them. That you are their property. That's their property. That's their property. When you're in the truth, you are part of a scattered nation. And the nation will not be brought together until Messiah comes. When Messiah comes, when Shiloh comes, that's when we're going to be brought together and be brought to the kingdom. That's when all 144,000 going to meet each other for the first time. But up to that time, we're a scattered nation. You got us scattered all over the earth. We're not part of any denomination. We're not part of any camp, any 501c3 corporation. No, we are part of the scattered nation. That's why the scripture said, he said to the 12, James said, to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. Greetings. That's what James said. Look, notice. Let me show you. James chapter 1. James chapter 1. That's what he said. James chapter 1. I know I got to get going into this thing because I only got an hour in this thing. Okay, let's look at it. James chapter 1. Notice what it says. James chapter 1 in verse 1. James chapter 1 in verse 1. Testing 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? I see 2. Okay. James chapter 1 verse 1. James, a servant of Yahweh and of the master Yahushua Messiah. To what? To the 12 tribes which are what? Scattered abroad. There it is. See? 12 tribes scattered abroad. See? So the nation of Israel, the true people, are scattered. That's why part of the promises which we have been reading in the scriptures is him gathering together his people when Messiah returns. He's going to gather us together. We're going to meet Messiah in the sky as a gathered together people, bring us to the nation, going to bring us to the land, going to bring the city down. All that's going to come together at that time. Okay? Going to give us a pure language. He said, because none of us really, people get confused. You know, some call Yahushua, some say Yahushua, some say Yahuwah, some say Yahweh. Don't worry about that. Because when he come back, he said he's going to give us a pure language. None of us know what we're talking about now. It's been so corrupted. But he's going to give us a pure language. Don't worry about it. You're going to change our names. Each of us going to have individual names like a star has an individual star. None of us going to have the same name. Praise the Most High. Yeah. That's right. Don't have to worry about it. Praise his name. So right now, we scattered. So because we are scattered and because we not in this system of Babylon and these so-called organized religions, we not part of Christianity. We not part of Islam. We not part of Judaism because we're not Jewish. You know, you say, what color is it? It's kind of bluish. That means it's not quite blue. It's kind of bluish or it's reddish. Right? We're not Jewish. You understand? We're not Jewish. We Israelites. The true thing, the real McCoy, Israelite nation. The real deal, Holyfield. Praise the Most High Yah. Right. Not Jewish. You know, they might get, oh, Ashkenazi might say, oh, I'm Jewish. Okay, that's cool. Well, you Jewish? No, I'm not Jewish. I'm an Israelite. I'm an Israelite. Southern kingdom of Judah. Son of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, of the bloodline that came out of West Africa. That's who I am. That's who I be. And if you Caucasian, you say, listen, I come out of Europe, but I've been grafted into the bloodline that came out of West Africa. I've been grafted into the Hebrew Negro Messiah. I've been grafted into the Holy Father. Praise the Most High Yah. Part of the olive tree of the true stock. Praise the Most High Yah. The true Israelite stock. That's right. That's where I come from. You tell them that. Now, I'm not Jewish. No. Not Jewish. Praise the Most High. Okay, so 12 tribes scattered abroad. See, so we're not part of this system. And as they start to separate us, because see, when 144,000 bring forth their message. When 144,000 bring forth their message. The power that's going to be on that message, brothers and sisters, I know I mention it often, but I can't even begin to describe. The power that's going to attend the words of the 144,000. The power that's going to be on their message is going to be of the Father's Spirit. And the earth don't know no power like the Father now. Okay? You're talking about a power. that when he talks, things could exist or cease to exist. That's why the Bible says in Revelation 19 that the Messiah fought against his enemies with the sword of his mouth. Why? Because all he got to do is put his thumb down or say bye, and you don't exist anymore. And you know what? All the Israelites that have been faithful from times past, all he got to do is say come forth, and they can come from whatever dust, the particles they've been spread. They can come back together, and bone come together with bone, like in Ezekiel 37. Boom, there they go. See, he can do that. See, ain't deal with no power like that. And that power is going to supply us with the Spirit when we bring forth the message. Now, because of that power, we're going to be separated from the people. People are going to separate themselves from us. They're going to know we're different. And then they're going to know. So now they're going to be looking for you to be in one of these established religions. You're going to be part of Islam. Okay, you fine. You part of a Christian denomination. No matter which one of the thousands you want to be a part of, you fine. You want to be a part of a Judaism. You in the synagogue. You good. You say, oh wait, you a Taoist? Okay, that's cool too. How about here? Oh, you a Hindu? Oh, good. You worship the chubby Buddha? Okay, you cool too. That's good. You could be in any of that. But you start to talk about you an Israelite and you're not in any of the churches, there's a problem. There's going to be a problem. Hold on, we got booted out of Power Talk. Those in Hangouts and those on YouTube, just letting you know, we got booted out of Power Talk. There it is. Hang on. Of course we would. Makes sense. Of course we would. We're going to get booted out. Why? I don't know why, but hey, maybe they scared of this message. I don't care. We just going to keep doing what we do. Let's see. Let's see where we at. Let's see here. Testing 1, 2, 3. Y'all hear me? Testing 1, 2, 3. You hear me? Okay, good. Okay, now. So now we talked about the first resurrection. And we talked about being in the kingdoms, right? In the kingdom. Now let's go into the second resurrection. And we talked a little bit about it. But now we're going to focus on it. Revelation chapter 20. Okay, Revelation chapter 20. Revelation 20. Let's take a look at this. Revelation 20, beginning at verse 1. Revelation chapter 20. Beginning at verse 1, and I'm going to read from verse 1 down to verse 6. Revelation chapter 20 from verse 1 to 6. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit, and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is called the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. And cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that he must be loosed a little season. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua, and for the word of Yahweh, which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither have received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Messiah 1,000 years. But the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death hath no power, but they shall be priests of Yahweh and of Messiah, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. Now I want to point something out, a couple things here before we continue. First off, if you were to look at the lifespans, starting with Adam's lifespan, okay, in Genesis chapter 5, and going all the way to Messiah, okay, you would find that that's 4,000 years. From Adam to Messiah, 4,000 years. Okay? That's 4,000 years right there. Okay. So now, from Messiah to now is 2,000 years. Okay? 7 is the perfect number. Okay, so now you got 4,000 years, and then you got 2,000 years. That's a total of 6,000 years. I'm making it very plain, I think. So then you have 1,000-year reign of the Messiah, total 7,000 years. 7 perfect number. At the end of the 7,000 years, there's going to be a second resurrection. Okay, so before we continue here, I want to show you Isaiah chapter 24, I believe. It also goes into where we are right now in these last days, the last days where we are right now, the last days of the history of this planet and of this kingdom of Babylon, the last days of Babylon. That's what we want to call it. Those people have trouble calling it the last days of Earth's history. You got a mental problem with that. Call it last days of Babylon if you want. Okay, if that makes you feel better. Notice what it says here. Isaiah chapter 24. Isaiah chapter 24, talking about what's getting ready to come. Isaiah 24. Notice what it says. Let me start. I mean, really, you should really read the whole thing, really. But we're not going to do it now. We're going to come back to Revelation 20 in a second. But let's start at verse 1. Isha. Going to read from verse 1 down to verse 6. Then we're going to skip down. We're going to skip down to verse 19 and read down to verse 23. So we're going to read 1 to 6. Then we're going to skip down to 19 and go to 23. Okay? Just for the sake of time. Read the whole thing when you'll get a chance to. Notice what it says. Behold, Yahweh maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof. And it shall be as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with the master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him. The land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled, for Yahweh hath spoken this word. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. That's where we headed. Okay? That's where we headed. Earth is mourning. The creation is mourning. Like I said, if it wasn't that the Most High holding back the winds, these heathen would have destroyed us off the earth long time, couple of times over. Okay? Because that's why he said, we'll destroy them that destroy the earth. Go from verse 19 down to verse 23. The earth is utterly broken down. The earth is clean dissolved. The earth is moved exceedingly. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage. And the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it. And it shall fall and not rise again. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth. And watch this. And they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and shall be shut up in the prison. And after many days shall they be visited. Then the moon shall be confounded, and the sun ashamed, when Yahweh of hosts shall reign in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem before his ancients gloriously. Before his ancients, that means the ancestors. It does say that in another place. The ancestors of our fathers. He's going to reign before our ancestors and us gloriously in Mount Zion. That's the 1,000-year reign. And he said they're going to be visited after many days. That's what it said in Revelation 2. He said, what? Blessed is holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. Such the second death hath no power. Priest of Yahweh and the Messiah. Reign with him 1,000 years. Blessed and holy. Rest of the dead live not again till the See, a pit represents the grave. That's what a pit is. And a pit represents the grave. So they're going to hold, the dead going to be in the graves for 1,000 years. Right? And then there's going to be a second resurrection. Now, also, look at Zechariah chapter 14. Zechariah chapter 14. Now, we read this the last time, but we're going to read a little further this time. Zechariah chapter 14. Okay. So we saw in Zechariah 14 the first resurrection, which is represented from verse 3 down to verse 8 is the first resurrection. Actually, down to verse 9, right? Let's look at this. 3 to 9, first resurrection. Zechariah 14, verses 3 to 9, first resurrection. Notice what it says. Then shall Yahweh go forth and fight against those nations as when he fought in the day of battle. And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem, on the east. And the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof toward the east and toward the west. And there shall be a very great valley. Half of the mountain shall remove toward the north, and half of it toward the south. And ye shall flee to the valley of the mountains, for the valley of mountains shall reach unto Azal. Yea, ye shall flee like as ye fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah. Make sure we still got time here. Okay. In the days of Uzziah, king of Judah. And Yahweh, my most high, shall come, and all the saints with thee. This first resurrection. And it shall come to pass in that day that the light shall not be clear nor dark, but it shall be one day which shall be known to Yahweh, not day nor night. But it shall come to pass that at evening time it shall be light. And it shall be in that day that living waters shall go out from Jerusalem, half of them toward the former sea, and half toward the hinder sea. In summer and winter it shall be, and Yahweh shall be king over all the earth. And in that day shall there be one Yahweh, and his name one. That's first resurrection right there. But then you're talking second one now. Watch the second one. Second one is later on in the chapter. See, people don't get this. But the second one talk about the second part of this chapter, the second resurrection. Watch this. Verse 12. Go from verse 12 down to verse, let's see, from verse 12, go down. We can really go to the end, but yeah, let's go from verse 12 down to the end. Notice what it says. And this shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. And it shall come to pass in that day that a great tumult from Yahweh shall be among them, and they shall lay hold every one on the hand of his neighbor, and his hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor. And Judah also shall fight at Jerusalem, and the wealth of all the heathen round about shall be gathered together, gold and silver and apparel in great abundance. And so shall be the plague of the horse, of the mule, of the camel, of the ass, of all the beasts that shall be in these tents as this plague. And it shall come to pass that every one that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall go up from year to year to worship the King, Yahweh of hosts, and to keep the feast of the tabernacle. See, this is where we're going to keep feasts in Jerusalem. See that? We're not keeping feasts in our enemy's land. We keep a feast in Jerusalem. And it shall be with that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, Yahweh of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. And if the family of Egypt go not up and come not, that have no rain, there shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the feast of the tabernacle. This shall be the punishment of Egypt and the punishment of all nations that come not up to keep the feast of the tabernacle. So you can't keep the feast of the tabernacles unless you're clean. And you can only be clean with the righteousness of the Father. If you don't have the righteousness of the Father, you're going to be, that's it, you're done. Okay? In that day there shall be upon the bells of the horses, look, holiness unto Yahweh. And the pots of Yahweh's house shall be like the bowls before the altar. Yea, every pot in Jerusalem and in Judah shall be holiness unto Yahweh of hosts. And all they that sacrifice shall come and take of them, and seed therein. In that day there shall be no more Canaanite in the house of Yahweh of hosts. No more Canaanite. What that mean? No more heathen. No more liars. That's what the Bible says in Revelation. No more liars. No more idol worshipers. No more of that. Everybody going to worship the one true God. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Everybody going to be covered in his righteousness. And they're going to rejoice in it. Because there's be no more sin. No more of the burden of sin upon us anymore. Messiah said, take my yoke upon you. I'll take the heavy burdens off you. Praise the Most High, yeah, by the righteousness of the Father. Okay, let's go back to Revelation chapter 20 now. Let's look at it again. Revelation chapter 20. I'm going to start at verse 6. I'm going to start at verse 6 and go down to verse 15. Revelation chapter 20 from 6 to 15. Notice what it says. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death hath no power. But they shall be priests of Yahweh and of Messiah, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth. Gog, there they go, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. A lot of them. And they went up on the breadth of the earth, and compassed the camp of the saints about, and the beloved city. Yeah. And fire came down from Yahweh. See, that's the plague that Zechariah talked about. That's the plague that smites them, that caused the fire, that caused the eyeballs to burn out of their face, that caused them to burn up while they stand upon their feet. And fire came down from Yahweh out of heaven and devoured them. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heaven fled away, and there was found no place for them. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before Yahweh, and the books were opened, and another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which are written in the books, according to their works. And the sea gave up the dead which were in, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them. And they were judged every man according to their works. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. Whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. There it is. In order to be written in the Lamb's book of life, you have to be covered in the Father's righteousness. There is no other way. You have to, because only that which is perfect in righteousness will enter into the kingdom. That is perfect in righteousness, enter into the kingdom. That which is not will not. It's just as simple as that, brothers and sisters. I can't make it any plainer. Now, before we close, let's just read a couple of verses before I can cut off. Let's read some verses from Ezekiel. Ezekiel chapter 38 now. We did 39. So we're looking at 38. You're going to see now. In 39, he said a sixth part you're going to save. He ain't going to say that in 38 because this is the second resurrection. So let's look at Ezekiel 38 from verse 1 down to verse 8. Ezekiel 38, 1 to 8. Notice what it says. Ezekiel chapter 38, 1 to 8. And the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Most High Yahweh, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back, and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords, Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah and of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared. Prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee. And be thou a guard unto them. After many days shalt thou be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste. But it is brought forth out of the nations, and shall dwell safely, all of them. We're going to stop here for tonight. We're going to stop right here. Praise the Most High Yah. We're going to stop here.